Do you ever think back to those long, golden summers? The ones that felt like they would never end? There was something different about time back then. It moved slower, softer, as if the world itself was taking a deep breath. No smartphones, no internet, no rush. Just the hum of cicadas, the clatter of a screen door, and the laughter of kids echoing down a sunlit street. The world was smaller, but somehow it felt bigger. Every corner of the neighborhood was an adventure. Every sound was familiar, and every sunset felt like it belonged only to us. Those summers, they weren't perfect, but they were ours. And sometimes, when the evening light hits just right, you can almost feel it again. That warmth, that peace, that quiet kind of happiness that only childhood summers could give. Mornings back then began with sunlight spilling through thin curtains. The air still cool from the night. You could smell the dew on the grass, hear the hum of a distant lawnmower, and the soft crackle of bacon frying somewhere down the street. Mom's voice would call from the kitchen. "Breakfast's ready." Her voice was warm and familiar, carrying through the quiet house. And there it was. A bowl of cereal, toast with butter melting slow. And that familiar radio voice giving the morning news. Somewhere, a dog barked. Somewhere else, a sprinkler hissed. We'd finish eating in a hurry, already thinking about what the day would bring. Outside, the neighborhood shimmered with promise. Bikes leaning against fences. A baseball glove on the porch. The sound of screen doors slamming shut as kids ran out laughing. The whole day stretched ahead, open and endless. We didn't have plans. Just the freedom to wander, to get lost, to be young. Maybe we'd ride our bikes to the creek, catch frogs, or trade baseball cards under the oak tree. Every morning carried that same quiet excitement. Like life was simple, honest, and full of small wonders waiting to be found. We didn't know it then, but those mornings were the beginning of memories we'd keep for the rest of our lives. By noon, the sun was high and the heat rolled over everything. The asphalt shimmered, the cicadas grew louder, and even the wind seemed to pause and rest. That was when the world slowed down. The laughter faded into a lazy quiet. Just the buzz of a fan somewhere inside, and the soft clink of ice cubes in a glass of lemonade. Mom would tell us to stay indoors for a while, so we'd sprawl on the living room floor, watching old cartoons on a black and white TV, or flipping through comic books sticky from the heat. Sometimes we'd sneak out anyway, barefoot, squinting against the glare, to chase our shadows across the empty street. A popsicle from the ice cream truck felt like treasure, cold and sweet and melting too fast to last. Every house seemed half asleep, drapes drawn, fans humming. The whole town caught in that drowsy rhythm of summer noon. The town itself seemed to dream beneath the weight of the sun. Then slowly, the heat would begin to ease. You could feel the day turning again. A little breeze slipping through the trees. The sound of kids' voices coming back. The promise of evening not far away. And there, in that stillness, was something hard to explain. A feeling you didn't have words for. The quiet joy of being young, alive, and free in a world that asked for nothing more than to simply be. As the afternoon sun began to fade, the whole neighborhood seemed to breathe again. Screen doors creaked open, dogs barked, and laughter spilled into the air like music. Dad rolled out the old grill, rusty but faithful. The scent of burgers and corn on the cob filled the yard, mixing with the sharp smell of freshly cut grass. Mom carried out a pitcher of iced tea, the glasses chiming softly with ice. On the radio, always that same familiar station. Elvis, the Beach Boys, or maybe Simon and Garfunkel singing about dreams and time. Neighbors waved from across the fence. Someone mowed the last strip of lawn. We kids, barefoot, sunburned, happy, chased each other through sprinklers, screaming and laughing until our sides hurt. Then came that golden hour, when everything turned soft and glowing. The trees shimmered, the street bathed in amber light, and the air grew still, like the world was holding its breath. Fireflies began to flicker in the grass. We'd grab mason jars, trying to trap a little piece of magic, believing that if we could just hold on long enough, we could keep the summer forever. Dinner was simple: paper plates, stories, laughter. Someone told an old joke. Someone else hummed to the music. And for a little while, it felt like time stood perfectly still. Then the stars came out. Dad leaned back, looked at the sky, and said softly, "Another good day." Back then, we didn't realize how precious those evenings were. How they'd fade one day, leaving only warmth and silence and the sound of crickets in our memory. Maybe those summers never truly ended. Maybe they're still out there, in the hum of a screen door, the scent of fresh-cut grass, or the echo of a song you haven't heard in years. Time carried us far from that world. The streets are quieter now, the faces older, the laughter softer. But deep inside, those golden afternoons still glow, like embers that refuse to fade. We grew up. The world changed. Everything became faster, brighter, louder. Yet sometimes, when the evening air feels warm, and the light falls just right, you can almost hear it again. The laughter, the footsteps, the heartbeat of a simpler time. Maybe nostalgia isn't sadness. Maybe it's gratitude. A quiet thank you to the summers that made us who we are. Because even as time moved on, those days, those beautiful, endless days, never really left us. They just became part of who we are.